anyone successfully accessed them? One person. Should be, look under the nervous system slides. And there's a separate one for endocrine system, PowerPoints, that's fine, but it might even be on there.
Yeah, I saw the nervous system was 2 parts, but it ended where Mikael ended today.
Did it?
That was the last
Okay, I'll look on Blackboard to see if the endocrine's up as well. But these pictures, I looked through different pictures and put them up, so they may be to your benefit. A lot of them are just repeating the same information, but it's maybe different perspectives. So right here, this picture is good. It's got the neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus, and it's got the anterior pituitary gland and showing you all of the hormones from anterior pituitary gland. And then this is the picture for posterior pituitary gland. You can see neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus, and notice they're traveling all the way down to posterior pituitary gland to release oxytocin and ADH. Yes?
When you on the previous chart, the one the flow chart, the hypothalamus and the such and that, when it mentions thyroid, does it delineate between parathyroid and thyroid, such as thyroxine? And
yeah, let me specify thyroid, not parathyroid.
Okay, so it's not parathyroid.
TSH, when you think of TSH, TSH is going specifically to thyroid gland and stimulating the release of T3 and T4.
Okay.
The parathyroid gland is on the back side of the thyroid gland, and it has different roles. And I'll tell you about calcitonin and parathyroid hormone.
Got it. Okay, that was my next question.
That's my next few slides. So yeah, thank you for that, and that leads us to thyroid gland. The first slide you'll see will be pituitary gland. The second slide you'll see will be thyroid gland, below the hyoid bone on top of thyroid cartilage. And when you look at the actual tissue, you're going to notice a lot of cuboidal cells. Okay, so notice all these cuboidal cells. And they are follicular cells that are going to release T3 and T4 when they're stimulated by TSH.
What is T4?
T3 is triiodothyronine, so 3 iodines in it. T4 is tetraiodothyronine, so 4 iodines in it. And that's why when you have salt and it's supplemented with iodine, it's for that reason.
And TSH is what?
TSH is being released from anterior pituitary gland, stimulating thyroid gland to release T3 and T4 from the follicular cells.
So the anterior pituitary is a TSH, and then TSH stimulates thyroid gland.
And yes, and the follicular cells and thyroid gland release T3 and T4.
What does TSH stand for though?
Thyroid stimulating hormone. The name is a giveaway.
Okay.
Here's my recommendation. Try to find one axis. Let's say the thyroid. Look at TRH. Then go to TSH. Then go to the thyroid gland and then look at T3 and T4. If you get one axis down in your mind, it'll help you understand the other axes.
So the posterior, you said it was released from the posterior pituitary?
No, this is anterior.
Okay, okay.
TSH is from anterior.
Alright, that's like confusing.
Yeah, it's you can study it to that will make more sense when you look at it again after studying the physiology. So I drew you the axis, TSH down to thyroid gland down to T3 and T4, and the effect of these hormones, like I said, is going to affect metabolic function and it's going to affect body temperature regulation. So we're done with that. However, when you look at the thyroid gland, you also see some other cells, and they're called the parafollicular cells. And they have very different functions. They're also known as the C cells because they produce calcitonin. So, calcitonin reduces calcium levels in the blood and helps to build bone. So now we look at the thyroid gland under the microscope. You have some cuboidal cells, and those are the follicular cells that are releasing T3 and T4. However, you also have the parafollicular cells, which means next to the follicular cells, and they are also known as C cells, and they're releasing calcitonin, which allows you to build bone. This is where it gets confusing for a lot of people, and it took me some time to get through the confusion myself. Take the thyroid gland and look behind it, and you have, so here's the thyroid gland. Sorry, let me go over it again. Here's the thyroid gland. I already showed the parafollicular cells, which releases calcitonin hormone, allows bone building, reduces osteoclast activity, reduces bone resorption, and reduces blood calcium levels. Right there, parafollicular cells. Now, take the thyroid gland and look behind it. You're going to see small glands that are called parathyroid glands. These parathyroid glands, they release a different type of hormone called the parathyroid hormone. That decreases bone building, increases osteoclast activity, increases bone resorption, and so that increases blood calcium levels. Please go over these slides when you can.
What are these slides called on Blackboard?
I'll look it up now.
Okay.
Once I'm done with this, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Questions so far? Alright, you want to write this down, just in case. Things not to confuse. Follicular cells. That release T3 and T4. Put it under one bullet point. Follicular cells that release T3 and T4. Another bullet point is parafollicular cells, which release calcitonin. Put a circle around these. Put a circle around these two bullet points, and above the circle put thyroid gland.
You said parafollicular cells release calcitonin.
Yeah, parafollicular cells release calcitonin. So put a big circle around them, and on top of the circle write thyroid gland. Now make a separate circle. Call that circle parathyroid gland, and in that new circle write parathyroid hormone. So this should help you comb through some of the details when you're studying these slides. Alright, let's move on to adrenal gland. Like I said, adrenal gland above the renal, which means above the kidney, and it's got two layers. You've got the cortex and the medulla. The cortex has the zona glomerulosa in the outer region, the zona fasciculata in the middle, and zona reticularis inner. The zona glomerulosa, it's releasing mineralocorticoids, which include aldosterone. The zona fasciculata is releasing glucocorticoids. It's in the middle. And the zona reticularis is releasing androgens, and it's the innermost. So, write down this: GFR equals MGA. And I'll tell you that in a second. GFR, glomerulosa is G, fasciculata is F, reticularis is R, equals MGA. M is mineralocorticoids, G is glucocorticoids, A is androgens. Everyone wrote that down?
You repeat that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
GFR equals MGA. Let's start with GFR. G is glomerulosa, F is fasciculata, R is reticularis. MGA is M is mineralocorticoids, G is glucocorticoids, A is androgens. And it's telling you what each of the layers is releasing.
What is G?
Glucocorticoids.
Yeah.
Glucocorticoids.
Which G? The GFR or MGA?
MGA.
The MGA G is glucocorticoids.
What's the A for the MGA?
Androgens. Androgens has a role in reproductive role. And glucocorticoids have a role in metabolism, glucose metabolism. So you remember when I mentioned ACTH from anterior pituitary gland, and I told you it stimulates the adrenal cortex. So the ACTH is stimulating the zona fasciculata and the cortex, and it's going to have an impact on the glucocorticoid release. Okay. Lastly, medulla. Medulla is the inner portion of the adrenal gland that has two hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine, and they have a role in fight or flight. So let's say a bear is chasing you, you're going to have fight or flight response. So your medulla is going to release epinephrine or norepinephrine. More likely it will be flight. So you've got, again, if you take physiology at a more advanced level, you learn all about the different impacts that has. Essentially, your muscles are going to have blood going to them, your pupils are going to dilate, and so on. Whereas your reproductive system, it's not going to be functioning in full mode, because when a bear is chasing you, it's not really the best time to sit and digest your meal. Instead, you need the blood to go to your muscles, and so on. Here's a picture through the adrenal gland. The cortex, I'll admit, it's difficult to differentiate the different zones. So zona glomerulosa is out here, zona fasciculata is in the middle, zona reticularis is the lowest. Keep that in mind. We're not going to try to trick you and ask you where's the border between them, because the borders aren't clear. And then the innermost layer of the adrenal gland is going to be the medulla, right there. Okay. This is a sketch, glomerulosa fasciculata reticularis for adrenal cortex, and there's the medulla. Let's try this. True or false, in the field of view, you observe zona glomerulosa that releases epinephrine.
True.
Zona glomerulosa that releases epinephrine.
True.
What does glomerulosa release? Mineralocorticoids. Okay, so it's the medulla that releases epinephrine. So now I'm going towards the type of questions I'll ask you in the exam.
Well, in that acronym that we had,
GFR equals MGA.
yeah.
Glomerulosa releases mineralocorticoids.
So, which one is epinephrine? Is that a mineralocorticoid?
No, epinephrine is for
Glucocorticoid.
fights or flight response. It's like it's adrenaline.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is that a glucocorticoid and a mineralocorticoid?
It's not in it.
Yeah, it's not different parts of the organ. It's in the medulla. The cortex is a bunch of.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got you.
By the way, mineralocorticoids include aldosterone, and aldosterone is involved in blood pressure regulation. A lot of this will make more sense in the next unit when we study the kidneys. True or false, in the field of view, you observe the medulla, which releases glucocorticoids that allows